Hello guys, I am a student attending Mr. Evans' abnormal psychology class at Vincennes University between the hours of 12:30 and 1:45 every Tuesday and Thursday. And I'm here to talk to you about a certain disorder that it's an eating disorder. And just like this eating disorder that this woman has, which she starred on the first episode of the first season of My Strange Addictions, which was a TV show. And she actually ate toilet paper. She didn't enjoy telling people about it, and she was kind of embarrassed, but she still enjoyed eating toilet paper. And if I actually swipe this way, you'll see this gentleman's name is Josh, and he was on the 10th episode of season 1, and he ate glass. Now, just like you can kind of see in the picture there, he bit off a piece of glass and he actually chewed it up. He chewed the piece of glass up, and he enjoyed it. He did admit that part of that enjoyment was hearing people's reactions and seeing people's reactions to you eating glass. However, he still enjoyed eating the glass. So, what is this disorder? It's actually dubbed Pica. And Pica is actually from Dennis Moore and David Sears at the U.S. National Library of Medicine. Pica is originated from a Latin term for the magpie. And the magpie was a bird that is framed as eating unusual foods, unusual eating behaviors, just like people with pica are, which is why they named it after this bird. But there's many different examples of unnutritional, unfood substances. However, some of the most popular ones is clay, paint, dirt, animal feces, sand, and hair or hairballs. And just besides the criteria of diagnosing it, there could also be some more symptoms to this. It just depends on what that person is addicted to eating and how much they eat it within a certain amount of time. However, some of the symptoms to look out for can be belly pain, nausea, and bloating caused by the blockage of eating so much of whatever they're eating. Some more symptoms to look out for is fatigue, behavioral problems, school problems, and findings of lead poisoning or poor nutrition. So, as I've stated earlier, it is pretty prevalent in children. Children actually have more of a chance of getting pica than adults. They have more of a chance of developing pica, really, than adults do. Actually, from the Medlineplus.gov that I actually found through Science.gov on the library's website database, up to 1/3 of children ages 1 to 6 have these eating behaviors, the eating behaviors of pica. And so they're obviously more apt to get this, to develop this disorder, but women who are pregnant are also pretty apt to getting these eating behaviors, really. But sometimes, obviously adults aren't children, and men can get it too, even though it's pretty rare, really. But obviously men aren't pregnant. But some of these people actually enjoy having that texture in their mouth. They don't really necessarily like the way it tastes, but they like the texture in their mouth. And again, this is from Medline Plus I found through Science.gov. But I decided to put this into here because I found it pretty interesting. These are tests you can do for pica patients. So obviously, due to the poor nutrition, poor health of eating all this stuff and putting it in your stomach, you can test the blood levels for iron and zinc, because that could be one reason why they're eating certain things. It's because they're very low in iron or zinc. Next step would be to check the lead levels, because whenever somebody eats something like paint, the lead levels can skyrocket and they can get poisoned. Also, finally, you want to test for infection, because eating contaminated soil like dirt or even animal waste, obviously, can lead to some infections that you might not want. finally, the treatment, the management and the treatment is how I worded this one, because it's not always treatment. It's just kind of trying to manage it until it goes away. But the Royal Belfast Hospital for Sick Children actually wrote an article, and it kind of explains what I was trying to say just then. Pica is actually remits spontaneously. It actually just goes away spontaneously for most children and pregnant women. So really, it's not so much about treatment as much as it is management, because it can just disappear spontaneously on its own. But to manage it, to best manage it, you should have a team of physicians, social workers, dietitians, nutritional people, psychologists, dentists, just all these people you can bring in to try to help you would be the best way. Would be the best team you could have. And another very important part of managing is having the parents and the patients be up to date and educated on the nutritional practices that they should be going through. Positive reinforcement is huge, but especially in Pica, because if we can show positive reinforcement to these Pica patients who end up eating normally and do not go back to these abnormal eating behaviors, then it might help them further along understand that they have to stay on a path of normal eating and not eat these substances that their body thinks it wants and what they like. And finally, my last point in this video, you have to wait for my paper for more details, but my final point is controversies. And some of these I actually I concluded on my own a little bit, just from the numerous research and all the resources I've supplied for you today. But one of the biggest controversies for me, and why I would kind of be a little bit judgmental on a diagnosis of Pica, is because one of the main criteria is it has to be unacceptable for your society or your culture. So how are you, even though I live in the United States, let's say I'm from India, okay? How can you tell me that my eating habits are abnormal when I've been eating this since I was a kid in India? In my culture, in my society that I grew up in, it's quite normal. So I wouldn't really diagnose that as Pica. Even though people here might find it extremely odd, I wouldn't diagnose it as Pica. And to me, that is one of the main controversies of this disorder, is that you have to take into consideration, hard consideration, their culture and their background, and some stuff you can look up online, some stuff you might already know, some stuff you can look up in a book. But there's so many small villages and so many other countries and all kinds of different traditions, just like in the United States. There's all kinds of different traditions, cultures that eat different stuff, and that's okay. And I would not consider it a disorder just because somebody grew up in that culture or that society. Excuse me. Another big controversy is that through the 16th and the 20th century, research suggests that during that time, Pica was regarded more as a symptom of other disorders rather than its just own disorder. And I think that's big, because if it is followed with another disorder, it is highly recommended to go and follow that other disorder, to show that other disorder priority over Pica, because it could potentially be causing that Pica, especially with autism. People with autism, kids with autism, adults with autism, they have tendencies of patients with Pica, but I don't know if I'd diagnose them with autism and Pica. That is kind of a drawback, I guess. Is maybe not even a drawback, but it's just one of those symptoms that come along with certain other disorders. You'll get Pica coming along with that. So this video is getting kind of long. So I want to kind of end my note on the picture that introduced me and interested me in this disorder. And that is this one. I know you can't see it very well, but this is actually from a museum from a state hospital, and this is all the contents. I'm going to try to put it close to the camera so maybe you can see it a little bit better, but this is actually all the contents found in a patient with Pica's stomach. That's a lot of nails, that's all kinds of screws, that's clay, that's small rocks, buttons, just all kinds of things. And I mean, this picture truly amazed me so much that I wanted to learn more about Pica. So I thank you guys for watching this video and kind of learning what my research paper is going to be about and some of my points. But that was just the very fine line and the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this. I went into depth with some stuff, but it goes way beyond this, and it goes way beyond anything that I can write my paper about. It's still an interesting topic, and if you don't know very much about it, I'll try to go and research all you can about it. So thank you for listening.